Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. This is a multimedia platform to bring hazmat response information and training tips from hazmat nerds around the globe. I am Bobby Salas, and I'll be acting as your host for tonight. I am joined by our ever-present Bob Kosh, Jason Rogers, Mike Monaco, and Phil, who's out gallivanting. As you can see, I am. Well, I would love to say that I'm on a beach. Unfortunately, I am not. I'm in my basement still, but I am playing around with a green screen with a cold chroma key. It's very cool. And you see my headphones are a little wonky. I'm going to get them all. Now, no time at all. It's going to be so awesome when I start putting up the stuff I really want to do in the background. I'm going to put up scenes of like Caddyshack. And
dude, that is on TV right now.
Yeah, it was. I watched it last night.
I was just watching it.
I'm gonna do this the looniest things. Like if anybody wants to see stupid stuff, and
dude, that is on TV right now.
Yeah, it was. I watched it last night.
I was just watching it.
Even Ryan, dude, I'm gonna do this the looniest things. Ryan Hendry's saying meow tropical. I'm gonna put Super Troopers on for that one because
yes,
you can do the Super Troopers thing.
Yes,
and so yes, that's good stuff, man. I think there's good stuff in the future for us coming up very soon.
Like ice cream?
Like in about 3 minutes. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh.
And then it's gonna suck again. But then it's gonna get good again.
And then it's gonna suck and then it'll be okay.
You'll be like, oh, I want to turn this off. And then it's gonna be great. So we have been discussing it behind the scenes about where we want to go with the show, and there's a lot of just different thoughts and processes that we want to go through, but we want to keep the content kind of fresh. We want everybody to kind of contribute a little bit differently, and we want to give a little more to you, the listener. So what we're going to do from now on is we're going to try to do like 2 minutes of something. And everybody on the table is going to say, "Hey, listen, I found this great app while I was doing something insignificant during my day, and we're going to discuss it for a couple minutes. But it's not going to take very long. We'll just discuss it for a little while, and then we'll move on to the regular news and kind of put everybody in a seat and see where everything goes. So, without further ado, Bob Kosh sitting there in his black wife beater, not showing the spaghetti scenes. Why don't we go with you to start off your 2 minutes of intelligence?
Yeah, that's a minute and a half longer than I need. No, real quickly, interesting little call we had yesterday. CO alarm came in about midnight, and when we got there, lady complained of a headache. So some of the things that we talked about in previous shows is that, just carrying a bottle of soapy water on the rig to trace back those lines. A lot of people try to go right to the gas meter and turn the gas meter off. But when you're dealing with the apartment complexes like we were last night, you can't go and just shut down the meter because you might be shutting off the wrong one. So it's important just that simple little spray bottle of soapy water, starting at the oven or the hot water heater and trying to trace back where it is. And if you can just turn the valve off there, you've saved everybody else from not having any gas to the rest of the building, and maybe they can still cook their dinner.
That'd be nice.
So that's my little 2 minute nugget.
That's and we do that all the time in New York City. We actually try to work the operation back to the street, the main thing, because you shut off the street, you shut off the building, and that's a big deal, right?
Right.
So try to isolate it as close as you can to the appliance to do what you need to do. Jason Rogers looking into the box with named Wallace. What was his name? Yukon Wallace. It was so much better. I knew it, but it's from Pulp Fiction when he looks at the soul.
Marcellus Wallace.
Marcellus Wallace.
What are you bringing home meters from work? What is that?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Mike. This is what we call product placement.
That's epic.
These things tell me exactly what I need to do when I need to do it. I don't even have to think anymore.
Hello, computer.
Hazmat genius right here.
Mike's headphones. They're amazing.
They're specifically, For election day, red, white, and blue.
Nice.
I'm on it.
Go
Is it my turn? Can I talk about what I found?
Go with your urgent.
Hey, go with the urgent.
Go with the urgent.
Hey, so yeah, so my thing, I was fooling around at 3:00 in the morning on the App Store and just started typing in hazmat stuff, hazmat this, hazmat that, and you know you've got Wiser, and you've got the ERG, you've got you know, kind of the typical garden variety stuff. You got your NIOSH and all there, but I found a couple of cool ones. One is probably pretty well known, but they just upgraded it, the CSX Rail Respond. If you're not familiar with that, it is specifically for emergency responders. You can get train information real time from that. So crossing numbers and rail car numbers can tell you what the shipments are and all that sort of stuff. So that was a pretty good one. They just updated that one here recently. One that's really cool that I found is called the Gamma Detection app. And it literally, now obviously I've not had any chance to use it yet, but it literally says you can take your iOS iPhone and detect gamma rays with the using the camera. Now I just downloaded it. I don't know a whole lot about it yet.
Gimmick.
But you know, I'm taking this to the college and we're gonna see if it works. So, but hey, you know what? It's out there. Somebody's put it out there. Safer Mobile Responder. So this is the one that I really thought was interesting. It takes, if you're familiar with some of the ones that use your GPS and you know, you can map out where you're at and all this. This actually is a culmination of like Wiser with the ERG guide as well. So I know like on the Android phones, I call my wife the Droidiot because she's the only one in my family that has a Android operating system. So I know, yeah, whatever.
Can we just hang up on him?
Yeah.
Hey, when you guys run out of data, call me. I don't want to hear it. But no. So this thing was pretty cool. The Safer Mobile Responder. So it's just another app to throw out there that you know, kind of intermixes if you don't have the 2016 ERG. So yeah. So you know, playing around with that stuff and maybe we can share some more detail and stuff in the future. I want to know about the gamma detection one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd bet my life on it. You know,
I've also seen the one that has an X-ray and it's basically just a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glasses that you used to get in the Kicks box.
Yes.
Yeah,
those same people made that. Same people.
Mike, what is your 2 minutes of fame?
My 2 minutes of fame is me being a complete moron. Yeah. So we've had you know, we had the gas explosion a couple of weeks ago and took out one of our chiefs. And since then, it's been kind of the hot topic among the, you know, the both headquarters and down at Hazmat operations. So the chief comes by and he goes, "Hey, Mike, what's the response factor for methane on our meters?" And having logged that in my memory from years ago, because the you know, going to Hazmat school and trainings and you sit and you watch things over and over again, I was able to instantly blurt out, "Oh, Chief, the response factor is 0.5. We take whatever it is and we multiply it by 0.5. And he goes, "Are you sure about that?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt." And he goes, "You are 100% wrong." And I went, "What are you talking about? It is 0.5. And he said, "No, it was 0.5 based upon a meter that we had almost 10 years ago. And is everything with all of our information that we have been teaching was based upon information that was gathered from sensors that were from pieces of equipment that were 10 to 15 years old at the time. And as we developed and got new pieces of equipment, we failed to update our teaching and our training. So this, not that it makes a big difference between 0.5 and 0.7, but it just goes to show you that with every single piece of equipment that we advance, we need to take all of our knowledge base and make sure that the things that we are just taking for granted have not changed as well." So that is my 2 minutes of don't be me and keep yourself updated properly.
Nice.
All right. So don't talk to the chief is basically the
yeah, listen.
Don't talk to the chief.
Let me go get you that iced tea or that cup of coffee, Chief. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, right back. My car's on fire. I gotta go. And
I should have known it was a setup from the beginning. They never ask anything.
no, that's so. I do have a 2-minute little thing. However, well, I have two 2-minute things. One of them parlays into one of the stories we have. So I'm wondering if I would be given the indulgence is to delay mine until after this story. And the other one is we had a very, 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 very interesting acetylene tank run that I happened to have entry on, and it was a no bullshit burning inside the tank acetylene run. And I have pictures, and I have detailed operations of what we did and how we did and what we thought. And I'd like to really expand on it. I don't know if you guys want to do it tonight. I think we could if we have enough time. I know we want to try to keep to a 30-minute thing, but I don't have any problem. I have pictures queued up and all that stuff. So if you guys are interested in playing the audience and throwing any questions you have at me, I will play that story out. Or we can run into another episode, whatever you want to do.
Let's do that. You want to do? Let's do our parlay into story one and do the that story that you have something to follow up with, and then we'll skip story two that's in queue, and we'll do your run. How about that?
All right, so let's get to the stories. Here we are. Okay, story number one is a fuel industry, and I'm getting this, of course, HazmatNation.com, where you go to get all your hazmat news. At least one person was killed and several others suffered serious injuries after a colonial pipeline exploded on Monday in Shelby County, Alabama. The force that forced the evacuation of dozens occurred late Monday morning. Monday afternoon in Helena, just 5 miles west of a recent colonial pipeline gasoline leak. So they just had something only a very short time ago. According to the AL.com, at least 5 workers were severely burned by the explosion, and the report added that several of which were airlifted to the nearby hospital. Several homes near the blasting were evacuated, according to the Associated Press, and the fire continued to rage Monday and prompted pipeline officials to shut down the pipeline that runs from Houston to New York for the second time in 2 months. That's a big deal.
That burst pipeline a month ago caused huge issues in the Southeast as far as gas consumption, like people waiting online and all sorts of crazy crap.
Now, I remember, I mean, I know Bob probably a little bit, Jason not very much, but Sandy was an enormous deal because Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, all that is in the literal armpit of New York. And what happens is all that water gets gushed in there. And we still are hearing about flooding in there. But one of the biggest things was the lines for the gasoline. I will never forget. There was lines miles long for people to get a gallon of gas. People were robbing, stealing, shooting in the best areas, and it was amazing. So I can only imagine that another one of these problems has come up, and it's going to be a problem up here again.
Yeah, they already saw. I think yesterday the gasoline futures was already up 10 cents per gallon just because of that pipeline was shut down.
Wow.
And
wow, that's crazy.
The only reason that the guys from Long Island were able to get back and forth to work is because we had one guy in the firehouse that lived way upstate that literally would fill up drums of gasoline and drive them down to the firehouse, and guys would just put cash right on the drum as they took out 5, 10 gallons to get back and forth to work.
Yep, that's true. I'm going to give my 2 minutes of little nugget right now because I went and I investigated how pipelines actually work. This colonial pipeline has had a few back and forths, but they basically move gasoline, heating oil, and I'm not picking on Colonial Pipeline at all. this seems to be like a generic type, and most of these pipelines move gasoline, heating oil, aviation fuel, and other types of like refined petroleum products throughout the eastern and southeastern United States. But what I really keyed in on, and I don't know if any of our listeners really have one of these things around there, is that they use these one of two different ways to send these loads. They don't change. When I'm sending gasoline, I don't clean and purge like 6,000 miles of pipe and go, okay, you ready for the next batch? Here it comes. And then send them like jet fuel. This comes in like one shot at the next shot at the next shot. So what they do is one of two different ways. And I really, as ashamed as I am of saying this, but I really didn't know that this is how they do it. They do it in one of two different ways. They send these spherical balls or a pig that looks like a dumbbell, and they inject it through pressure, and it basically separates the loads. So this dumbbell has like a gasket in the front and the back, and they send it through. That seems to be one way of doing it. But another way is that because of the different specific gravities and the actual, I want to say the solubility and the miscibility and all the other jazz that comes with it, they are actually able to just say, okay, gasoline's stopping, start to get the jet fuel. And because the two really aren't really happy hanging out together, they move through. And when the end of the pipe says they've been sending jet fuel for 8 hours, here comes the gasoline, they monitor specific gravity, and then they dump whatever mixture there was. I was like, holy cow, I never heard of that. I'm sure some guy, well, Ryan Henry, I think actually does this for a living. But I was pretty impressed by that, and I'd really like to find out a little more information about that. But that was very interesting stuff about how they do it. Ryan, I know I'm watching your writing here. If can you explain, and I'll just verbalize what you're saying there. Do you guys use pigs? I think you do use pigs to do these separations. I've read an awful lot about the specific gravity and the non-solubility, or just throwing something in the middle like water that will be a separator. Well, water is heavier, and it's going to – but when you send it through at that speed, I don't know if it would really stand up on almost a vertical wall.
Bob Lundgren says they call it plugging also.
Plugging or pigging. I'm finding out on some of the grouping that, and if you're not looking at the grouping, I would recommend checking out the YouTube channel while we're live doing this, because there's some people in the industries.
They actually use a pig for. We get a lot of stuff from Tampa to Orlando, and they use the pig system.
They use the pig.
Yeah.
So does that do anything to change how we would operate, other than like walking up to a placard, not a placard, but a pipeline marker, and saying, "Oh, this says it's gasoline, but it's actually jet fuel"? Like, is there a way to distinguish?
Well, you know what? I know this because I know that the 49 CFR not only does DOT, which is over-the-road transport, which is what we always think about with the UN transport, the 4 digits, because I'm taking it over the rail or the way bill or the air or the train, but they also do the pipeline. Anything that transports over the lane is purview for 49 CFR. Now, I'm just talking about the United States, but they have to conform to 49 CFR, and there is a whole section in there about
just pipelines.
Oh my God, it's 185. I almost had this memorized, but I don't. I'll find it while we're kibitzing. The topic is asparagus. Go.
I like the thin asparagus with a lot of leaves on top.
You're a jerk.
A little bit of cheese sprinkled across the top of it, lightly garlic,
wrapped in bacon.
Oh, now you're.
Oh, here it is. 49 CFR 195-210. That is U.S. law for pipeline locations and the Code of Federal Regulations for transportation of natural and other gases by pipelines. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Mic drop.
Don't drop that mic. Don't drop that mic.
Not tonight.
So that's interesting. I think that's very interesting stuff. I'd really like to see that whole specific gravity game in play. And me and Mike do have one called the Buckeye Pipeline that's in our area that comes from. Where the heck does it come from?
Is it Idaho? No. What's the Buckeye state?
Ohio.
Ohio. It comes from Ohio.
Never heard of it. Anyway, no,
it's that middle of the country crap.
They send us New York City our jet fuel, gasoline, diesel, and they do it via this menu. You know what? I am going to take a field trip next time at work, and I'm going to find out about how they send these pigs. I want to see one. Interesting, right?
Good stuff.
Any other interest or impact or input or in front?
For pigs? I know absolutely nothing about pipelines other than a pipeline marker must show a phone number, the product, and the person who owns it. And it is not necessarily over the pipeline. It can be in the vicinity of the pipeline.
I didn't know that.
Yes, the pipeline marker does not mark the exact location of the pipeline.
We have them out here, and they sit on the pipeline and those markers are about, I don't know, maybe 15 yards apart, and it's supposed to be between the two.
Okay.
Someplace. They do locate them, and I know in what did you call us? The Midwestern crap.
Yeah, the middle
world.
The middle crap. The middle
crap. Yes. Oh, here in the middle crap, I do know that they do flyovers on them on a regular basis, and they also, because of the farming that goes over on top of them, they do safety checks because they're afraid that the disking and all the harvesting and all that stuff going over, they can get the erosion will get to them. So I know that they have a pretty extensive safety program for the pipelines.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you never. It's very rare that you hear in the news of a major pipeline failure. Yet we spill diesel and crap all the time going over the roads.
This morning we had double 275-gallon tanks of home heating oil in a building in Park Slope, and we must have dropped how many gallons?
Oh,
100.
Probably 50. Yeah, just to get there.
Oh my word!
And it was a dirt floor basement.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the best kind because it just soaks into the earth.
Yeah, it was self-speedy drying.
All right, let's go into the next story. This is about responding to industrial sites, and again, you can find this in Hazmat Nation. It said that this is kind of a short one. But I did a little extra investigation. Firefighters responded to a reported gas tank explosion in Knoxville today. The tanks were being removed from the ground at the time, and WVLT provided details. Said that 911 dispatch said that Rural Metro and the Seymour Volunteer Fire Department are working on a 4,000-gallon gasoline tank explosion near Sayreville Pike, Rural Metro, and the Seymour Volunteer Fire Department, and they responded to a gas tank explosion on the corner market in Delhi. No injuries have been reported yet, but the news agency's WBIR reported the pieces being found at the quarter-mile away. Now, I went and looked into this a little bit further, and I found on WVLT they had a little bit of a follow-up, and one kind of thing said a little bit more. It said that the firefighters said the force of the explosion moved the tank about 65 feet and blew the end cap, which was found about a quarter-mile away. Now, I'm looking at a picture of this thing. Based upon perspective of this photo, I'm going to say this is about a 20-foot long by 6-foot tall cylindrical tank. That is a big.
It's a big tank.
Big tank.
That's a big tank, man. I'm telling you, I'm looking at this guy, and this guy is no skinny mini. And the tank is towering over him. It's huge. It is long and cylindrical. It looks like a big AA battery on its side.
Was it a steel tank?
It looks to be, because it has a lot of rusting, but I can't really tell if maybe the soil had iron content. I really can't. but I'm going to say yes. It does not look anything like fiberglass or any type of synthetic. So, as far as, yeah, the colonial accident was probably caused by heavy equipment. You know, a lot of these, and you could see the Caterpillar scoop. I don't know what the hell you call it. I've driven a lot of these things before.
Backhoe?
No, it's not a backhoe because it has the front scoop on the front. I'm telling you, this is almost a crane, a scoop crane. Had what is in the picture.
Did you call it a scoop crane?
Yeah, of course. Oh, you know that?
A scoop. I mean, you made that up.
Correct. Everybody's throwing their noses up in the air right now. But anyway, maybe this is operator error. But either way, if we have gasoline vapor, what's our concern? Like, you know, what are we talking about here?
Well, I guess if you're looking at a pipeline, then you're not really concerned about that. Like
it's not a pipe; it's a tank.
Oh, you're talking back about the tank.
This from the picture. You know what? Stand by. I'm going to put up the picture so people aren't imagining things in their heads. Please stand by while I transfer your call. Hold on a second.
So if it does have residual gasoline in it, you got to be concerned about any ignition sources, obviously. So that's, you know, is it a steel tank? Is it a polymer tank? What, you know, or is it double walled? What kind of safety precautions does it have? Is it electrified to keep the rust down and all that sort of stuff? Which I want to give super props to Kevin Ryan for some stuff that he sent out about gasoline, gas station safety. And it is going to be, in fact, I'm going to post it right now as we speak on Hazmat Nation. So when this show's over, go to Hazmat Nation, check out the YouTube video that we just posted. And it's got thanks to Kevin Ryan for sharing that with us. But it explains these tanks and how they work.
Interesting.
So that's a big tank.
That's a big tank, and luckily it is broken clouds and 64 degrees in Fahrenheit in Knoxville. So that's good to know. But this slim pickings over here to the right is showing.
Wow.
I'm going to probably catch some for that one. But
that's my Uncle Vinny.
I'm guessing the tank is about 5 feet tall by, let's say, 20 feet. Would that be respectable? Is that right?
I would say
yeah.
Probably two lanes of traffic easily.
Right, and I'm also going to say that there's a gas station in the back because it says gas over the guy's right shoulder. So they probably had this tank buried, which is now the norm, where they put this vacuum test on this tank and they see what's going on. And the thing had probably some leaks, right? And they pulled the thing right out.
You missed your calling. You should have been a NYPD detective.
CSI, baby, right there.
Oh my God.
That's it's a TV show action.
What did you call? Is that one of those scoop cranes that you called it?
Yeah, scoop.
Also called an excavator.
Yeah. Do they drive the truck dumper to it?
I'm gonna kill you.
Get in line.
I love it. But anyway, you know, like these. What's the concern if this thing's holding gasoline? No. You know, we're going to this tank. It's leaking. Even if it's in the ground, what's our metering complement? What's our concerns? Let's start with Bob.
Okay. I think the first major concern, obviously, is going to be evacuation. We want to get all the people out of the store, away from the area. Evacuation, the immediate area. That would be what the first 2 units do. After that, hopefully the first 2 units can also hit any emergency shutoffs that might be on the building. And then really, what are we going to do with it? Do we have a lot of vapors? Do we have stuff emitting up from the ground? What's our leak? Is it just vapors? Is it something we need to control with a fog stream and foam? That's just the beginnings of what's going to end up being a very, very long day.
I just noticed in here, and it's probably maybe you guys noticed it, but there are firefighters in the background wearing camouflage that are operating a hose. Notice that?
I do. I see 2 of them, and then you see the 2 next to the pit looking down.
That's Rit.
I was like, how is that hose line operating by itself? It's amazing. Jason, what are your concerns, hazmat wise? Give it to me.
You know what? I mean, I'm gonna let's assume that's a steel tank. So you know the vapors. I'm worried about vapors. You know, you want to be meter and you want to be watching your LEL. Are you able to get foam in there? Can you water inject? But you got to get it. You're going to have to, make sure that you don't have any ignition sources. I like the idea of evacuating everybody and proper PPE.
And is that on the right side of that tank? Is that a big gouge in it?
It kind of looks that way, but the more I look at it, I kind of blur it up here, and it looks like maybe it's just dirt. But it could be. Maybe that's why it blew up.
Mike, what are your thoughts on metering and?
Well, I'm gonna have different thoughts depending on what I'm actually seeing when I pull up. So if these guys are in the process of excavating, then I'm fairly certain that tank is empty. But the empty tank is more concerning to me than a full tank. I would actually feel more comfortable if there was gasoline in that tank, because then it's going to push enough vapors to push that oxygen out. Whatever gets in there is going to be too rich to go ahead and burn. The fact that they're excavating it means that it was an empty tank. So if we're there post explosion and the tank is ripped into shreds, then I don't really think I have too much of a secondary explosive hazard. I'm going to be probably more concerned about seeing where any liquid that was in the tank is headed, if it had ruptured. If there is still liquid or gasoline somehow in the tank and the rupture is a small rupture, like the explosion created a small rupture and vapors can reaccumulate, then maybe I might add foam. But that tank seems relatively away from any sources of ignition. It doesn't seem to be I think we could keep that pretty well isolated without filling it with foam or anything along those lines. So I guess without seeing more information, I guess I would really have to really take a good look at that container. I know the product, I know the environment. I got to give a really good look at the container and size that up to determine what my next steps are going to be.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys or anybody out there. That excavator or bobcat or backhoe or whatever we want to call that thing, it's still running. Do you shut it off?
Of course. I would.
Oh, absolutely.
No reason to have it on. Is it really going to have an? No, it's not going to have an effect. But you know what? Why risk anything?
Right. I mean, because we're talking about ignition sources, right? But how many people would be afraid to turn it off because they've been taught over the years, don't ever flip a switch. And what are you going to do?
We got a really easy way of dealing with that. You approach that scooper truck with your meter, and if you walk around that thing and there is no flammability, then
shut it off.
You could shut it off. You could turn it on. You could drive it in circles for all I care.
Yep.
There's no flammability.
And you know what? If you had flammability, you could also put a fog stream.
That's what I was going to say. You could fog to push
and the cat there, so that you're not and monitor on both sides while you're moving it.
You know what? My thing. I'm looking at this picture again from this single point of view. They're operating a line. It looks like to me, and I can't tell if it's foam because I think it is foam.
I think it is foam.
Yeah, the white there looks like foam.
So I'm wondering what's happening on the other side of this whole tank. Is there a huge leak, and they're trying to suppress, smother, separate all the BS that happens with this thing? But with vapors of gasoline, it's much heavier. Would everybody agree with that? So I'm concerned about any areas that are around here. I'm going to be using my LEL. I can use my FID, my PID. I can use my color. I can use a lot of stuff to pick up on this. Some things are just going to be blown out because it's so sensitive. Anything like the, of course, it's going to pick it up. But the IMS, I wouldn't pick the IMS.
Yeah, it's too. I mean, you know what you have, so really, yeah.
So I wouldn't say the IMS in all situations, or not even IMS, but FTIR and all these other things. They're not always the rule of thumb. I would say there are something where you have to really start meeting things head on. And this one, I gotta say, for an explosion, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem. I mean, maybe that there's like a cylinder in the back behind the fast team. You know, it's kind of back behind that dirt pile. I'm wondering if that's something else, and this is a separate tank, because I don't know, man. That's a really good looking tank for having been involved in an explosion.
All right. Well, you know what? We let's stuff. That was a pretty good one. Let's get into where am I? Am I here? There I am. Handsome as ever.
Back on the beach.
I haven't lost a day. Look at me.
Look how sunburned you
He's
are.
having a pina colada.
He's having a pina something.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's wrap this thing up. That is another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook and at Hazmat Nation, the Hazmat Guys. Let's go around the table. Bob, we'll start with you. Where can we find you, and what are you doing now?
You can find me at bobkosh@hazsim.com or hzmtlt@gmail. Finally back at work for a few shifts before we head out and do some more hands-on hazmat training.
Very nice.
That's it.
Jason Roger.
I'm Jason. You can find me at Hazmat Nation. Jason at hazmatnation.com. Send me an email. We'll set your team up with a Hazmatters segment. We want to hear about your runs, your tools, your stuff. We got a new tech talk coming out this week, so be an interesting article and something new shared with the nation from another team. So check us out every day. New writer on Hazmat Nation today. We go out today, but we got a couple of new people submitting, and we've got some new content. So watch Hazmat Nation. New stuff coming.
I love it. Michael?
All right, well, I guess I'll do for both me and you. You can find us, the Hazmat Guys, on Facebook and Google+. You go to Google+, you can follow us and find out when we're going to do the live version of our podcast, which is always fun for drinking and cursing. And you can reach me at mike@thehazmatguys.com. Bob, where can they reach you?
Well, like you said, we have a podcast dealing with hazardous materials, and we welcome everybody to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, and any place you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube, where you can find the unedited version of our debauchery that we put out. Actually, tomorrow night, if you're interested, we're going to be doing one that's going to be the second. Be prepared for what time? Probably about 9?
9, I think.
9-ish, about Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be putting on quite the fireworks show with what the heck are we doing? Oh, 29
CFR,
which is going to deal directly with the gear, what we wear, and SCBA, and why we have to, as per law. If you are interested in this, about why we do what we do, this is the show for you.
You mean it's not level A all the way?
It's not. Well, you know what? It's funny, and I don't want to really go down into this, but if you want to listen to a little bit more, the law says if you have an unknown, you must put on level A type 1. That's the that's everything. It's the Gumby suit. That's not real. I'll be honest, that's not real.
Tune in tomorrow for the truth.
Yeah, we're going to go into it. We're going to really break that down, because there's a lot of discrepancies between the law and what we really do, and we're going to get into that a little bit deeper. But
awesome.
Means check us out. And what else? Be sure to catch next week's show live every Tuesday at 21:15 hours. That's 9:15 for you lay people on Eastern Standard Time on Google, YouTube Live. And we're also producing a live version of this, and you can find it on the iTunes under the Hazmat Guys Nation. And we're posting this, obviously, as soon as this show's over. We go into the YouTube channel, so you can find on our channel, as I like to say in French, at THMGnation@gmail.com. That is all. Go in peace.
Awesome. See ya.